Hi, I did that. I did that. I used the business variables in my process. It's fantastic. But now I have another question for you because I had to create a new process for my delivery project and I have to use the zip code. But in this case, the zip code should be more an integer. How can I change the data type in the BDM, please?
Yeah, awesome. Well done. You did your first BDM. That's perfect. So here, if you want to change a type, look, you have to go to the studio, use the studio, you access your BDM, and you change the string to I don't know, an integer or let's say a long. Okay, and that's it. You have the new definition. But now on the server, what's happened? You need to change and to reload the BDM object. And with that, you will translate the database. But imagine that in the zip code, you have a hello or something like this. What's happened here? Well, the portal would just failed, or it can delete the zip code, all the data, all the zip code, and create a new empty zip code. So to anticipate what I do here, I think I already told you about that screen, isn't it? It's I use, let me get it, where it is, no, not here. Yeah, it is. So I download and I use the snowmobiles. So what you have to do is just to take that page and just download on that page the new, upload the new BDM zip here that I export with the studio. And then the snowmobile will detect for you all the change. So you see, it will see that you change something to a string to a begin to long. And then you have the SQL, and it's up to you to do what you want. For example, you try to detect if all the string are correctly in integer. And if yes, you can just do an update to an alter table. Or if it is not, you have to prepare first to remove all the hello and to do something to transform that in an integer, and then you can alter the table. But you have to do that before, and then after you have to load the BDM in the portal to finish the procedure. But first, detect and prepare your database with all the different change.
Okay, okay. But what happens to my previous process?
Well, for your previous process, which is here, for example, for all the case already archived, okay, no impact, the business is here, you just update the database, so it's fine for the archive cases because it's completely desynchronized, so it's okay. The point is for the new process, the new case, or imagine that you have some case here and you change the address here at this moment. So first, what you have to check is of course the contract here. It's a zip code is a text. So when you arrive here, imagine the user give a hello in the zip code, then the case will just fail. They can't update that, and the contract is okay. So the user can click and select, and then when it will arrive to the operations. Here he want to change, so he will type the zip code, which is a text, to the zip code, and then he will try to update the database, and then of course it will fail, and then the case will be in failure. The same, if you want to create here some cases with some zip code like this, you will just have a failure. So you have to change your process as well, because else it's not possible with that process to create or to update the cases.
Okay, okay. But for the new cases, I should create a new process, toy order 2, and then to deploy it. Is it correct?
Yeah, exactly. So what you have to do, you have to first to change your process. So you will create a version 2. So click here and change the version to version 2. Then you have to change the business data model in your studio, and you have to check the address. Here, come here, go to executions, and in the execution you have to change the contract because now it will be a long. Okay, what is integer here, and of course you don't want that the user give a hello in the widget and then the contract will reject it. So you have to change as well the forms. click here, then come here, and in Designer, you can select the zip code to say now, sorry about that, my screen is too small. Say now it will not be a text, but a number. So now you will have the version 2 and the version 1. You have to deploy, disable the version 1, enable the version 2, and you have to change the database type using the Snowmobile, as I just told you before, to change the database, because else if you don't do that, of course, if you deploy the BDM, it will fail and just put the math in your database. So that's the process. First, Snowmobiles, change your database, update the new BDM, disable version 1, enable version 2. Is that clear?
Ah, there, you should know how to use Snowmobile for that. Poppy told me about that. She knows how to use it. That's great. But what about the cases, the running cases that don't have the zip code created?
Hey, that's the point that I told you. Here I would like to say, close the order here, so it's not possible. Disable the version 1, so it will not be possible to create any new cases here. So, and let all the cases finish to prepare the delivery and so on. So if they want to change your address, they can do that, and they can produce a zip code in a string. And when all the cases is after that task here, and or finish, or after that one here, because this is a critical one, then you can do the operations. So you deploy the BDM and you deploy the version 2, and that's it. So is that possible to do for you to do that, to close the process and wait that all the case go after this change address?
No, no, no. This is not possible. It can take 3 weeks after the creation of the zip code and the validation. So it's not possible. Today I have 212 cases, and it's not possible to modify the process toy order version 1 to say that the type is an integer. And why the update of the database is not working. Finally, we are doing just an update of the zip code to another number like 344, and in the database it's an integer. So the database should know how to manage that, no?
Well, for the first questions, no, it's not possible to modify the order version 1, because of course you can change easily the forms to change the number to the string to a number, but after you see that means you have to change the contract here to move the zip code to string to integer, and then you have to need to change potentially the operation behind and so on, and it's to be changed for Bonita. You can change some item, but not the structure of the process, and that what you want. And for the second explanations about the database, of course, if you make an update with number 344, then of course the database will know how to handle that and transform that this string in a number, because it's it's a number in the table. But if the user give a hello, then how the database can do that? So she will tell you, no, it's not working, I failed it. So that's it. Let me think. What is possible, to be honest, here is in fact to keep the zip code as an integer and then to create a second attribute to do something like this. So you keep the zip code as a string here. Where is the string? String, okay. And then you add a second attribute, zip code string or integer, sorry, int, for example. And you say this is an integer long, and then the version 2 will populate the zip code integer. So here you keep the order 1 still running, order 2 populate the second, and when you disable and delete the order 1, at this moment you can do the update in your database to move all the zip code here to the zip code in. But you know, at the end, and then you can delete the zip code and deploy again the BDM, because you translate all the information in the new attribute. But you know, it's not 100 good, but that's a possibility.
Okay, I understand that's a strategy. But I think that the downside is that then it's going to pollute a bit my database. Yes, I can in the future also to delete this field zip code.
Perfect, perfect. That's awesome. So you see here the difference between the business data and the process variable, because if you used a process variable here, the order version 1 has its own variable with the zip code as a string, and the version 2 will be have the zip code as an integer. And two processes are completely independent, and you don't need to deal with any migrations because you just need to deploy the version 2. Disable version 1, all the cases can continue to version 1, and then you have version 2, and that is. But here, because you have the same information, which is the addresses, which is in the table and shared by the two processes, then you have the issue, and you have to deal with that and this element. So I hope it's more clear with the different advantage of the business and the private data as a process variable. And Merry Christmas.
Okay. So my customer data, I will save them in a business variable that is called customer. Okay, I understand. It's better a little customer today than a big customer tomorrow.